Hey, this is Joshua. It's I Cut Grass LLC, and it's March the 2nd, 2021. It's about 11:30 Eastern Time here in Central Indiana, and I want to do a short video here on my Toro Timemaster lawnmower. This is a 30-inch push mower that Toro started producing sometime, oh gosh, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I've had 7 or 8 of these now. And the model that I have is the pull start, not a key start. It costs about a little over $1,000. I personally think it's overpriced for what you get, but I still think it's a good mower. They have a commercial version, which I believe is the Time Cutter, and it's got several upgraded components, and it's a little over $2,000. But I just can't see myself spending $2,000 on a push mower, even if it's commercial grade. I'd rather have 2 of these because I know darn well that even at $1,000, I'm going to more than make my money out of this. Just like anything in life, you got to take care of it. And if you're using this on a mowing crew for those properties where you can't get that 36-inch mower into, as long as you're putting it up on the trailer and it's got its own chocks and it's not having other mowers backed into it and everything else and smashing it, you're going to get some life out of this lawnmower. So I'm going to show you a couple things real quickly that that I think are problems with this mower, because I like to talk about the bad stuff first and get it out of the way. So one of the biggest problems is the chute from the underside of the deck here that goes back to the bag is too small. Grass gets caught up in there very easily and blocks it off, especially in the spring when there's moisture in the grass. That's a big problem. Another problem is if you look at this bag, it holds a lot of grass. In the springtime, when the grass is wet, it's gonna bog down the lawnmower and have it'll have a tendency to kind of want to do a wheelie. And so if you're doing a hill specifically, you know, you're going to find out real quick that it's going to tilt when you're doing that. So mailman's coming by as I'm out here. Anyway, the motor itself on the Timemaster is not as strong enough, in my opinion, for what it's used for. You can bag, you can mulch. That's when the big problems come in with the mower the motor that's used. And then it's got a chute that you can put on it to cut out or to blow out the grass, and that works pretty good for the taller lawns. I don't like to push mow in my business. I just can't stand doing so. Maybe if I come over here, you can see it a little better. There we go. I don't like to push mow in my business, but there are some lawns that I just can't get away from it. If a commercial realtor, or rather a residential realtor, calls me and has got a lawn on the market, I don't want to leave that property looking like crap, so I'm going to have to bag it. So I do bag at a very limited capacity. But on the mower itself, turn this around and see, you can see, I'll tilt this down, you see this blue handle here? That's what you use your hands on to push and to get leverage to push in the self-propel feature on this mower. Excuse me. I'm not a fan of self-propel because, like I said before, if you're doing hills or whatnot, it can become a bit difficult to use. And also on this mower, on the back end here, there are bolts that come through to attach this to the handle. And those bolts, when you're on a hill, if you slip and you're mowing, they hit you in the chest, it doesn't feel very good. I know, I've done it several times. They should have an automatic power setting on this for speed or whatever, in my opinion. I'd like to see that. And I haven't had a Time Cutter, which is a commercial version, to know if that does or doesn't have it. What I do know on the commercial version is that the chassis is stronger, the motor is much stronger, the components in general are better suited for, you know, higher volume use. A lot of the components on the wheels here are plastic. They can break relatively easily, and it can be, especially if you don't have the experience with it, it can be very aggravating to try to fix it yourself. Turn this guy around here. It has the traditional little levers here to adjust the height of the mower, all that kind of stuff. Does have an air filter with it. And then, of course, you got to change the oil. Does not have an oil filter, so you got to dump the oil out. Changing the blades is relatively easy. You just put it on the side. It uses 2 blades, and they come out relatively easily. But I got this particular mower myself for just at $600 even. I happened to find a guy that on Facebook made the post that he had it, and it had never had gasoline in it, had never had oil in it. So I gave him $600, and considering that this is almost an $1,100 mower, I got a pretty good deal with that. Every time I get one, though, I'll say that I'm not going to get one again. Main reason is they have a big issue with the transmissions going out on them, plain and simple. It's happened to me on 3 or 4 different lawnmowers. So I ride them until I can, and then once they're done, they're done. But you'll more than make your money out of this if you're using this in a lawn mowing business. If you're a homeowner and you've got a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot home, I wouldn't get this mower. It's too much mower. One of the problems with it is that when it is full and you're backing in the winter, you got wet grass, it can have a tendency to rut a lawn. Another thing about it that I don't like that you have to learn to adjust your mowing with is that if you're mowing through the grass and then over to the sidewalk or the driveway, if you've got edging, it'll have a tendency to want to smash the edging. So I always do the edging last after I do the mowing, and that's how I kind of get around that. And then I do some mowing where I've got part of the mower on the sidewalk and part of the mower on the grass, so it's not pushing down the grass. What would have been really nice would have been if they would have taken these wheels and set them in a little bit, so you had the mower deck come out 4 or 5 inches, so you could go along edges and not have the wheel right up against the edge. There's a lot of times where we do mowing against concrete edging, for example, where this type of an approach would have been nice to have. But anyway, that's it. I think it's a good mower. I think it's worth having it. If you can get a deal on one, even a used one in your business, I think you're going to find that the time that you can save because of the width versus a 21, 22, or 20-inch mower is certainly worth having. You just got to take care of it, and the more that you work with it, the more you're going to become familiar with it. Ultimately, it is a good mower to have.